Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Barth. I'm a Public Information Officer with Pacific Northwest Team 2. I wanted to provide you with an update on the Schneider Springs fire. Today is Sunday, September 5th. The fire is currently 89,885 acres. We are at 14% contained. We did want to provide you with an update tonight. We will have speakers from our Operations Section Chief, Kyle Cannon. We're also going to be hearing from our Incident Commander, Rob Allen. Again, wanted to provide you with an update about what's happening on the Schneider Springs fire, what work has been completed since we last did our virtual public meeting, and what we can expect moving forward. Again, we will be answering your questions online. This meeting will be posted on Facebook. We will also be posting it on YouTube. So we encourage and look forward to your engagement and questions and comments in the chat. So thank you for joining us. And with that, I'd like to introduce our Operations Section Chief, Kyle Cannon.
Good evening. I'm Kyle Cannon, Operations Section Chief with Pacific Northwest Team 2. So, operational update. Last 2 or 3 days, we put a lot of energy into the south end of the fire above Highway 12 with the intent of keeping fire from coming down into Highway 12 and out from the private property around Rimrock Lake. 2 nights ago, we were able to complete our burnout, removing that unburned fuel between our main control line along Bethel Ridge and the main fire, and back it down towards the little Rattlesnake Creek drainage. So at this point, we're feeling very confident that all along Bethel Ridge, all the way out to the wilderness boundary, that our control line, our primary control line, has good depth to the control line as well as to the burnout, and that we believe that's going to hold a pretty good chance of that holding at this point. We do, however, continue to improve our indirect control lines down above to the north of Rimrock Lake and out along Highway 12 because we do have some concerns about this piece of ground out here on the southwest corner of the fire out by Shell Rock Peak and Burnt Peak. There is some potential for the fire to continue to move to the west slowly as we move into the fall, and it could make some movement to the south. If we were to get over that ridge, and as you guys may know, there is quite a bit of alpine and very sparse fuels in the higher elevations out here. But if it were to find a place to come through, it could then move back down into this area. So we're watching that closely and developing some plans on what to do with that, including some fire use modules and some other tools to look at that. We feel like this west side is in pretty good shape with the mountains and the alpine fuels that are out in there. But another issue we have on the north end of the fire, northwest, is around Bumping Lake here and the Bumping River drainage and Bumping River Road. In Thunder Creek here, the fire does continue to back down in here. We do have some good fuel breaks and control lines in place, but we're continuing to monitor that and keep an eye on that. Likewise, coming up towards Cougar Creek, we do have fire still backing in the wilderness here, flanking along this edge. We do have concerns about some spotting that could occur, so we do have resources in there managing and watching that spot and monitoring fire growth. Pretty solid control lines here in the Natchez River drainage all the way till you get to about Gold Creek and Lost Creek. And then we have some concerns in here. Fire is still backing down off of the ridge, down towards the Natchez River. Due to fire movement in here, we did initiate firing along this ridge down towards the Natchez River. We held it up in here. We're continuing to look at options to try to really minimize the impact to private property in the Natchez River drainage and bring that down to the river, back up onto the rim, and hold it on that 1706 road system if at all possible. Other than that, structure preparation is completed on the private property all the way north, and we're feeling like we have some pretty good options to control that fire as we go into the fall. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rob Allen. I'm the Incident Commander for Pacific Northwest Team 2. Happy to be with you here again. As Kyle explained, our main focus has been on that southern end of the fire because of what was going on there, but it doesn't mean we have lost sight of what's happening on the north end of the fire either. All the structure protection stuff that we had laid out before is all still in place and ready to go. We still have crews monitoring that area and looking at those things, making sure that we don't lose track of what's up there right now and the investments we've already made. As we get more and more containment on this southern end, you'll see our activity moving back up into that Lost Creek, Gold Creek area that Kyle was mentioning, where we're putting a lot of effort into there, and that's where you'll see us doing some more burnouts lately. A lot of aircraft intensity picking up in that area as we try to figure out some places that we can connect some of the road systems up there, try to kind of compartmentalize that and keep it off of the river as much as possible. as well as, again, still monitoring some of those key areas in the wilderness that we're paying attention to. One of the things that we talked about, I think, at our last meeting when we were here is that as we start to get a little bit more control on things too, and the fire has kind of died down in the middle, and again, just because this is all one big pink blob up here doesn't mean that it's all completely destroyed and all burned. It's very mosaic pattern out there. There's a lot of areas that are just an understory burn that'll come back and be just fine. But one of the next steps that we'll take is going back in and repairing any of the damage that we had done in trying to suppress that fire. And in this case, all these dozer lines and roads that we've tried to improve that are in the interior back when that was the control line, we'll go back in, we'll pull things back over on top of those dozer lines. We'll put in water bars to keep the erosion down and keep it from getting any more environmental damage than has already happened. And that'll start taking place as we get crews and leadership freed up from chasing the fire and protecting the forward spread of the fire. Then we can start going back in and concentrating on that. As we move forward in that, I think that the fire closure area around the fire is going to be pretty static for a while. Not really knowing. We've still got a couple of weeks left of fire season here in the Natchez area. And watching what that looks like here, we'll be needing to keep people out of that fire area for a little while. And even as we go back in afterwards, it'll still be really dangerous when we go in. Often our folks are driving in on some of those interior roads, and it's fine driving in. A little wind comes up on the way back out. There's trees across the road, and you've got to cut yourself back out. So we'll be trying to take care of those hazard trees, trying to clean up as much of that as we can while the weather gives us a chance. And that'll be our next mission. Part of what we've done too, and I think we mentioned it also in our last meeting, is that this team had extended out to another week so that we could bring some of these things to closure. We'll be working with the agencies here over the next couple of days to identify what the next management level is that we need for this fire. So you'll see another transition towards the end of this upcoming week from us to another management level to start taking care of some of those final things, starting to really get into the repair work, starting to try to clean things up before the snow flies. So we appreciate all the help that we're getting out there from everybody in the community, rural fire departments, the county, our sheriff's department, the troopers, everybody who's been out helping us on this. It takes a team effort for us to be able to take care of something that's 80,000+ acres. And for us to be able to get in and do that is really impressive with all the folks that can help and be a part of that. So we really appreciate everybody's help, and we thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate the updates. I know, again, we appreciate you all online and the engagement and the questions that you've been asking. So we want to keep you informed with timely, accurate, and transparent information. So thank you. I want to give you that update. I did want to point out a couple of other things. Those are reminders. There still currently is a emergency fire area closure in portions of the Natchez Ranger District on the Okanagan-Wenatchee National Forest. We have information about that on all our social media. There is an interactive site where you can look to see exactly where that fire area closure covers, where recreation is permissible and where it's not allowed. There is also a wildlife area closure in Oak Creek Wildlife Area, as well as Department of Natural Resource Lands has closure and for lands east of the Cascade. So there are some things still in place just for the safety of firefighters with respect to the closure area, with respect to the potential for new fire start. Restrictions are in place in many areas. So again, we wanted to remind folks of those things. And again, you can find that information on our NC webpage as well as Facebook and on YouTube. Please do feel free to reach out to us if you do have additional questions. We will be hosting another virtual public meeting on Wednesday. So we'll be doing that on Wednesday evening, and we look forward to hearing your questions and comments again then. Thank you.